How's your week been, bro?
Oh, mate. It's funny. I've been dealing with this back issue for 6 months now, and there's nothing wrong with my back. So it's like I've had an MRI done, and the MRI is like I don't even have disc degeneration, right? Like, so my spine's perfect. Like, it checked everything.
Yeah.
But man, it's just like it keeps just locking up,
Yeah.
and it locked up real bad 2 nights ago. And it's like, man, it's a bit of a mystery, but it's, mate, I tell you how like emasculating it is to feel that fragile.
Yeah.
It's man, it kind of puts you in your place. Like I wake up multiple times in the night and I get up and I'll scan my property because I live on acreage. I'll go to the windows and start looking out to make sure there's no one out there because if someone breaks in, because I had my house broken into 2 years ago
That's
in
right.
Byron.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
And I chased him out, but there was no one there. It was just me and Duke. But
Yeah.
now that I have a pregnant wife there, it's like, man, the vigilance around it goes up.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm like, if someone breaks in here, like, it's going to be hard to operate at full capacity with a bad back.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably switch on.
Yeah.
The reality of like life threatening means you'd switch on, but it's like I get the feeling. I'm the same at the moment. It's like I don't feel like I had the capacity to throw a slipper at someone.
Yeah, because you have a kidney stone, right?
Yeah, the kidneys are pretty bucket at the moment. But yeah, I feel you, man. It's not nice being in that space of having your physical capacity jeopardized by something that clearly is a mystery.
Mm.
You know, when you're trying to work out what that problem, that puzzle piece is. There's always the metaphysical link to the physical. I
Mm.
know you're fully aware of that. I'm fully aware of that. Shows up in tattooing all the time, but obviously shows up in people's health.
Because you just had your whole leg done as well, hey?
I've had the strangest couple of weeks.
Mm.
Well, it's been a week, couple of weeks. Really strange. Signing up for 3 days of tattooing, being in like this healthy apprehension of that, because every time you get big work done, especially intentionally, it puts you in a process, you know. And I hadn't done 3 days of getting tattooed before, so there was actually that physical limitation where I was like, how am I going to go in a sensitive spot on the knees getting tapped? And it was a big mental game. So it's like, 2 days into getting tattooed, my leg was very sore. I knew I had another day left, and I was just any questioning that came in, I just pushed it out so I could meet it and get through it, and I did.
And how many hours a day were you doing?
I think we only ended up doing maybe 12 hours in that time.
In 3 days.
Yeah.
So about 4 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're kind of like on the floor, and it's quite slow moving at times because there's multiple people working with the traditional tools and stuff. And yeah, and just like very tender areas as well, inside thigh, behind the thigh and the knee, around the knee. And the whole process around the tattoos, quite involved as well. You're kind of in a bit of you're in a process that isn't physical outside of getting tattooed, you know. So Moko, who is here, is staying with us as well, and we're in kind of like quite deep colloquy or discussion the whole time around what the process is, you know. So it was a lot. And then out the back of it, feeling quite victorious and accomplished, I fell into these intense kidney cramps and went to hospital, which isn't a usual step for me. And that turned into like another 3 days that was unexpected, you know. So it literally felt like I signed up for a 3-round fight and ended up having to go 6. Not to unpack all of it now because I'm still in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there was this layer of like, I'm prepared for the first 3 days. I'm choosing it and I'm in it. And, I'm choosing to undergo the tool, right? This painful procedure. And then it just felt like the creator came in the next 3 days and was just like, life is the initiation. You know, you curate these moments for you, and not to discount them or undercut them for what they are, but especially the further I think you go into layers of comprehending this pathway of deepening and maturing and letting layers of self go and layers of identity go and layers of ego go, and what it is that you're actually doing with your time, what's meaningful. It zooms out to this point where it's like, yeah, they're not separate from just what's in front of you every day. And so, yeah, there was this second stage to the tattoo process that was on a hospital bed, no tattooing involved at all, and very internal, and having to endure something that was just, out of my control, but I could tell was very connected.
Was it like a similar pain? So with your leg, I know tattooing, bro, you've tattooed my whole body.
Yeah.
Is the pain with the kidney stone in its process similar to a heavy tattooing session? Because that it's like that sharp burning.
Kind of, it's just deeper. There's this thing where it's internal that's like
the kidney stone.
Yeah, the kidney. Yeah. So tattooing, sometimes the pain can travel and transfer. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
You get tattooed somewhere and it travels somewhere else from the
I had that when you tattooed my head.
Yeah.
The left side was traveling all the way down my body. It's funny because it's like if you look on the left side of my head, there's a bit of a gap there, and people think I've dyed my hair and done a bad dye job, and it's actually the tattoo under my head. It's pretty funny. A few people have said that.
Yeah,
but I remember, it was transferring like down through the jaw. It was like electrical. It was almost like the sciatic nerve channel. It was going right down into my foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't take very long on my head. They were only like 30, 40 minutes. But I remember that left one I think it was the most brutal out of all the tattoos you put on me.
Yeah, that transference is more equal to what was happening with the kidney. So it's like I've always found the surface of a tattoo isn't that hard, but it's like it can put you in a internally fragile mental place.
Mm.
And then it's like the mental game gets really hard. It's almost harder than the tattoo.
Mm.
For some people, there is this transference. Like I think Jay was saying when I tattoo here, it's like she felt it in her ribs.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Mm.
And that was the discomfort. And when I was getting tattooed, I could feel my kidney. I could feel this pressure in here, and I was like, oh, it's processing because there's so much black.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my body's just processing all of this ink and inflammation because my legs were swollen and bruised.
Mm.
It's like I was just processing the inflammation. And I think now it's like, I don't know if this rhythmic tapping was like potentially even moving the stone up and out somehow, like some type of correlation. Pretty crazy. But the kidney pain is different to the tattoo pain. It's like this deep internal one. Far more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Far more uncomfortable. I could remember Wind telling me though.
Wind was your mentor, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to go into like prefacing too much stuff on our chats here. Like people either pick it up as we're going, I guess, or they're people that already know bits and pieces.
Yeah, context, yeah.
So I can remember him explaining this layer of like, because he wanted to get a tattoo and he had tumors.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got to do them for him, but there was a layer of him wanting the tattoo to basically have the target that was beyond the physical point where we're doing the tattoo internally for him, right? So it's like you're doing something on the surface, but your intention, your aim is actually directed at something that's internal.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're doing there, I guess it could probably be similar. I don't know Chinese med that well, but when you're doing
like acupuncture
or moxibustion, or you're stimulating the skin, there's like these internal channels that you're actually directing the energy through and stimulating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's this layer of like when you're tattooing, if you're being intentional, there's a physical site where you're applying it, but then energetically there's invitation and direction and all of this stuff that moves it wherever it needs to go.
Mm.
And so that can be like physically in the body, but then also like energetically, psychologically,
yeah,
spiritually. So I think there's definitely a layer of that happening. A lot of the time when you're the most intentional with your processes, it's like they just come from this genuine heartfelt space, and you don't fully know what the process is that you're lining yourself up with.
Mm.
You know, the result of it. You don't know how it's going to play out. You
Yeah.
don't know what aspects of yourself or your life are going to shift in accordance to your intention and your plea, you know. So I think there's definitely those bits playing out for myself. I see it all the time with people, so it's hard to ignore it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is
Mm.
fully. You know, I don't know what's fully being moved yet.
Has your dream space been firing up a lot?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Not in approach. You know, we were talking about dreams kind of that month before.
Yeah.
But then soon as I was out, there was nightmares when I was in the hospital. So there was a bit of,
Really?
Yeah, there was a bit of like, not nightmares, but the dreams were like, they weren't pleasant dreams or insightful in a manner that was like light
Mm.
and insightful. And I could get like the real simple threads from those. A lot of just the identity stuff that we've talked about. You know? Like one, I was smashing up a tattoo shop.
Wow.
That was my partner's shop, and it was like out of my control.
Yeah.
So I was doing things like my arm randomly would smash things. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know." And then I was like making my way out, and then the police are after me, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once I was out, so it's like the tattoo sort of gauntlet was done, the kidney gauntlet was done in its most intense form. You know, I still got the next month. But once I was home and I was a bit relieved, the dreams really amped up in this like pretty wild way.
Yeah.
Kind of like instructional stuff. Things where I'm like, oh, I should write that one down. Relates very specifically to how I'm practicing with people.
Mm.
But I haven't. It's just like more just like, yeah, layers coming in like that. Which makes me think whatever has been playing out has been useful.
It's also like if you look at the kidney stone, you're actually passing like a piece of material that's gone from, I don't know, I think it's from uric acid, isn't it? Kidney stone?
Can be.
Can be.
And I got to find out once I get this next part done,
Yeah.
either uric acid or sodium oxalates can be a build-up of different things.
Are they from tattoo ink?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so sodium oxalate is it's a strange list of foods actually, things like avocados and almonds and black tea. I drink so much black tea.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, that could be adding to it.
Yep.
A lot of greens.
Mm-hmm.
Greens have oxalates in them. I haven't looked into the uric acid side in terms of how you have to adjust diet.
I think that's a lot of heavy red meat.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's a common side effect on carnivore. Don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. What do you see anything metaphysical with it? What are kidneys? Kidneys are about
Signs?
fear, I think.
Yeah, fear and shock.
Yeah.
And the opposite of them's joy.
Mhm.
Hey? You know, joy, fulfillment and joy. Obviously, I've had to map a fair bit because of Jarrah.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's interesting that it's coming up for me as well.
And he's got kidney stuff.
Yeah, he's got kidney stuff going
Yeah,
on. They're doing the
okay.
opposites.
Yeah.
So mine isn't processing
Mhm.
enough. It's holding on to minerals and material that are calcifying,
Mhm.
whereas his body is not holding on to enough and leaking things out. So he's depleting his blood of things that he needs in it.
Yeah.
They're like opposite ends.
So what do you think was the most difficult part about being in the hospital? Like, what was it pushing on for you?
Okay, yeah. My mind first just went to like how crazy it is being in a place like a hospital
Yeah.
and just seeing like humans trying to do their job and care and keep other humans healthy and safe and cared for when we're all so disconnected and systems don't work very well. And
Yeah.
all of those layers, you know, really strange. But, you know, I messaged you about it when we were in there and we talked about it before I went in, which was the deprivation layer, hey.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like I went in with the clothes I was wearing and a hot water bottle and my phone type of thing.
Mm.
And then I was literally in the bed for 3 days and nights with like pen and some paper and no book to read, and not in a state of wanting to like flick on a phone and look at stuff. No TVs in there, no. So it was like this, there was a layer of life deprivation, removal of all of this stuff and being really sort of pinned in that place, straight off the back of the tattoo process. So I was literally just in
Was it Sunday night you went in? Or Monday?
I don't even know what date it is today. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday today.
Monday. So I came out on Sunday then.
Because I was going to sit in the tattoo with you on Friday last week. No, it was the week before.
Before.
Yeah. Because Friday and my back went out as well the week before.
Mm-mm.
It was
Yeah,
like
so there's a
Wednesday,
handful of
Thursday,
days
Friday,
between
Saturday.
the tattoo and the kidney.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then, a couple of days outside of that. So it was a solid week for you that you were stuck in it and still in it.
Yeah. In there, just tossing it around. So there was a lot of that deprivation piece, understanding what that is, where that came in, which has been insightful, man.
Mm.
Really has.
So the deprivation thing is like we develop these unconscious addictions, and being deprived is one of those negative emotional addictions that we get stuck in.
Yep.
And so then you're in there, you can't eat, can't see family. No, like you're basically deprived.
I was deprived. Very.
But also on the other side of it, getting like a type of care that you wouldn't normally go for.
No. Like, it was funny during the tattoo the second day, because my leg was like swollen, just inflamed. It was like, I'll have some anti-inflammatories. Literally wasn't like a pain thing. It was like I had a little bit of a headache, and I was like, I'm doing day 3, take some Nurofen. And I got it out of the drawer and said to Moko, like, and he was like, better if you don't.
Don't do it. Yeah.
A lot of plasma builds up. And I'm like that with everyone I tattoo as well. I'm just like, better off meeting it. It's like, okay, cool. And then in the hospital, it's like, they just gave me every drug under the sun.
Yeah.
Just so that I wasn't screaming my head off in the hospital.
Yeah, I remember.
So they're like chalk and cheese moments.
Yeah, it's like, I don't really like to take anti-inflammatories. I don't really like to take anything. The body has its own method to deal with things.
Sure.
And it was even coming in here, my wife was like, are you sure? And so were you. You're like, man, if you don't want to do it, it's all good. I'm like, you can't put your life on hold just because you're in some pain.
Yeah.
I think that, there's levels to pain, obviously, but kind of learn to live with stuff, and you just go, this has been going for 6 months. And funnily enough, the night before my back went off, which was 2 nights ago, I was sitting in the kitchen with my wife, and so I can't remember how it came up, but I said, yeah, it doesn't, because we were looking at like how much I'd gone through in the last couple of years, which has been a lot. And she goes, you've never really missed a session, like a work session.
Yeah.
And I said, I think there was 1 or 2 that I might have moved off or whatever. And I said, you can't just, I said, it would take a lot for me to not show up. And it was the same instance with coming in here. And you're like, dude, if you don't want to, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, man, we can't put things on hold just because of a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
Which I think it's important to do that, and you just let life adjust around that.
100%. And like you said it in that call where it was like, man, the things that you're moving towards, it's like you might not have the choice.
Yeah.
And so you're putting yourself in that space anyway. And I get that because that's what I've been living since becoming a dad. It's like if you don't consciously start to thicken your skin, it's going to get punctured pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then it's got to repair, and then you'll be all scarred up by it. But it's going to require it anyway, and I get that, like that is a big part of the tattoo thing. I look at how soft we are these days. Tattooing gives me one window into it, in terms of like choice and comfort and how we can go about it. But yeah, like I was telling you, the fellas I was sitting with, when they're working, they're telling me about doing the traditional processes, and it's like first line and you gotta get through to the last one. It doesn't matter if you're kicking or screaming. The people are going to carry you through that, and it might be 4 days, it might be 10 days.
Yeah.
In one go.
Well, we've seen this. We've seen so many. We were talking about this video recently of this guy that went under, got general anesthetic to get to do it. I remember I did one, I think it was my lower leg for an outline with some numbing cream with you at that horse stable, horse sanctuary. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
And afterwards, I just didn't do it. I'm like, nah, this doesn't feel right. Like, I think that if you're going to do it, you should earn it.
Yeah.
You should go through it and get it done.
Yeah, for sure. And it's to equip you with that knowledge of I'm able to endure and persevere.
Yeah.
You know, I've been through, and so that's like part of any of these stages for myself, and like I see it for you, and I see it for lots of people that are meeting it. It's like, yeah, times are sort of tough. Might not be this insulated and prescribed process, right? But it's like you're dealing with a sore back and all of the other things that have happened over the past 2 years, and it's like you come out the back of those 2 years with the knowledge of like, okay, when something is difficult or testing me and my relationship and my family, I've already endured something that's prepared me for this.
Yeah.
You know, that's the point of it.
Yeah.
I think that's what all of the early stage rites of passage primarily putting the adolescent mind through. It's like you're really well supported and looked after, and you're about to step into a stage of independence that requires you to know your capacity to endure.
Yeah.
Beyond having, you know, mum and dad there type of thing.
I find that really important because I see a lot of like therapists online, right? And they'll say, oh, he's a sweet, soft, sensitive little boy. And look, there's some truth in that. But what these online therapists or psychologists are saying about that is that that's how you should be as an adult man. In other words, it's like, sure, there are elements you could probably demonstrate that towards your children and all that, but it's like there's no capacity anymore amongst males. Or, I mean, I shouldn't say there's none, but so many of them fold now, man. Where it's life becomes too difficult, or they don't want to work, or they go under general anesthetic to get tattooed.
Yeah.
You know, like you haven't earned that. And I'm not a tattooist like you are, but you haven't earned it. Like I really think that there's something that you need to earn through the process.
Yeah, and you also haven't actually comprehended what's happened. That's the biggest gap there, I think, with the sedation ink thing, is that people are coming out the other side of a process and it's like you don't actually know how you got there. You were just asleep, so there's like you missed the whole journey type of thing.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about that couple that flew into Alice Springs after I'd just driven there that gave me that perspective before?
No.
So when we were traveling around in the troopy, me and Jay, and we had Ale, the first apprentice I had with me. Did you meet her, the Italian woman?
Don't think so.
Gypsy, lovely, had an old coaster bus that only could do like 90 kilometers an hour. So it took us like 6 days to get to Central Australia when we were driving out there. It's a long drive, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's a big drive.
Wake up and drive till sundown.
And nothing around you.
Going through a lot of time desert, you know, once you're off the coast.
Night sky would have been pretty beautiful out there, though.
Amazing. And like these salt flats.
Yeah. Do they reflect?
Yeah, you walk out into these salt flats and you can't actually see the horizon line anymore. And you can start to hear your heartbeat, and amazing. Lake Hart, I think it was.
I had that in Iceland, where I was out in a glacier and I could hear my organs.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah, because there's almost no wildlife there. So it's,
like there's something going on in those zones, how they're charged, and the visual thing, the deprivation layer.
Yeah.
Wild.
When you don't have like surrounding noise, because when I was in Iceland 10 years ago, out in the glacier, there's no birds. I think there's only horses and puffin. I think that's it in Iceland. There's no buildings. There's no white noise of like cars driving by. Where I was there, you might see a car every 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, right.
So I was sitting out in the middle of a glacier on a large ice block. Man, I'd never experienced quiet like that.
Yeah.
It was almost deafening.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's so quiet that it's loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's parts of me that go like, wow, how can you ever find that again? That's the type of silence I think a lot of the mystics are referencing when they talk about,
Inner silence.
yeah, and the creator existing within the nothing
Yeah.
and the silence. It's that space. But 6 days, I showered at a couple of campgrounds on the way type of thing. And it's like me just going like, how big is this fucking country?
It's huge, eh?
Like to the point where you're just like,
It's so huge.
how do I even get back to where I come from?
Mm.
You can't just jump back to where you were. It's a long way. You're way out there. And you don't see people. And the only towns you stop in, things get strange, man. Like Cooper Pedy, where people are living underground mining opals, like where Mad Max was filmed. You're like, these people are a long way from the world.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Mm.
And, this is where a lot of indigenous communities still live and were formed out in these places, right? Different world, dream world type of thing. And so we drove 6 days, get to Alice Springs, and there's like a tourist center where if you're a tourist, you can park your caravan or you can get a cabin and you can do some cultural tours around Ayers Rock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk into the information center to work out where we can camp, right? And you could picture like, hippie living in a car, walking in there to ask something. And there was a man and a woman who had their luggage, like they just flown in. So there's an airport at Alice Springs.
Mm-hmm.
They just flown in from somewhere and they were looking around tourist's office and they wanted to buy some of the artwork. Okay. So they're still in like
City mode.
Like let's go into the store and look at what we can consume and purchase because we're tourists.
Yeah.
Whereas I just traveled, right?
Were they from Australia or somewhere else?
I can't remember. I got a feeling like they weren't even Australian.
Yeah.
And so they're there and they said to the lady, like I'm waiting to talk to the lady, ask my question, but they're talking to her and they said, we want this painting, but we don't want to pay the price that's on it. It might have been, a few $100, $700 or something. Can you ask the artist if we can get it for cheaper? And the lady said, no, the artist is from Mutijulu community. Like they live out on the community, like in the desert.
Yeah.
They don't have phones or electricity. Makes sense to me. I just drove for 6 days through the desert.
Yeah, you get it.
She turns to her partner and is like, oh, we can't ask for a discount because the artist doesn't even have a phone. They don't even have electricity. We can't ask about the discount type of thing. Disappointed in the response that she got. And I was like, she doesn't even know where she is.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the context of where she is. She doesn't know how she got here even, the distance, the gap between the world she's come from and where she currently is.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like huge processes, having gone through lots of them, having like been next to people over the long journey it takes to go through a big transformation, someone going under anesthetic and coming out completely changed physically when the psychological change that they've gone through is like just been boycotted.
Yeah.
There's going to be huge ramifications in terms of being able to accept and digest the reality of what's happened to them and who they are and what that means. Big rupture and splitting is what I'd sort of predict in that space,
Well, it's like surgery. That's what they've done, but a full body. And I mean, I think the guy that I saw, his tattoos are terrible as well that he got. I think he got like a clown on his head or something like that.
Oh, yeah, the one you sent me.
Yeah. But he's a big dude. Like he's a big muscular dude and had his whole back done, both arms, both legs, and his head, I think, all his back. I don't know if he did his front as well.
Yeah.
But just the shock that you would go into. I mean, I think for me, about 4 hours is the limit when I get tattooed. And I've been tattooed for a few years now. But that 3 to 4 hour mark, I'd be like, man, I'm starting to hit my limit here.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine what the body must go through, even though he's unconscious. The body's still got to go through a process of doing, I mean, those tattoos, it must have taken 15, 20 hours with all those guys working on him.
Yeah, they have lots of people working as well, from what I've seen.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4 guys, I think. But a sleeve takes at least 10 hours.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking like 2 of those plus your back's got to be 15 at least.
Oh, longer.
So you combine
a
all
lot
of that in
longer.
multiple spots. So if you're doing one spot for 4 hours or your whole body for 4 hours, that's a whole different system that needs to be
I think what we're
recruited.
pointing to here, which is quite crucial, is so it's like, it's not cheap to do what these people are doing, right?
Yeah.
50,000 probably minimum process if you're going to go under and get tattooed for the anesthetist
Yeah.
and all the artists and whatnot. It's like big in Miami and South America and different places at the moment.
Oh, is this a common thing now that's happening, is it?
There's literally a profile, Instagram profile. They're called Sedation Inc. in Miami.
Oh, no way.
So all of their
See, I didn't know that.
testimonials are people with that are in the position to do it, right? And so it's like if you have the resource to do it, a lot of the time it's like you want something that's either it's going to cut time, or make it easier, or be of the highest quality, or
Make it easy is
like
probably
there's all the
number
things that
one.
make something a good product, and so the biggest pain point with tattooing is the pain
Yeah.
and the time.
Yeah.
And so they're cutting those things out by going like this many artists and you don't have to feel anything. So a lot of people are like, yeah, perfect, cool, I'll do that, But the reality of what I think tattooing offers, not always, like if you just see it as art, there's place for that, cool. It's a whole like discussion and debate that people can have around whether there's other layers that are changing anyway, that are sort of like removable. But if you're just doing it for art, cool. Maybe I can see why someone would fall into a place of going, this is a good idea, right? But in terms of the psychological change, actually integrating and understanding story and identity and meaning with the tattoo, you can't skip those layers. You can't actually get the return on your investment if you check out.
Yeah.
You can't get the return on the investment if you check out.
Because tattooing was a big initiatory aspect, right? So you would go do the hard thing, you'd come back and you would be marked as a new man. Yeah. And if you failed that, you would never be allowed to try to become a man again. You'd be a laughing stock.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite nuanced. There's lots of layers, but it's like that's a pretty, it's like a primary one that's there in a lot of the cultures. Was the challenge of it, and the moving through that threshold space, and it's like a physical act that's actually meant to aid something that these cultures will talk about happening on more of a soul level. So there's obviously partnership and relationship between our physical and our non-physical being, our spirit or our soul. And it kind of has its own sort of, not free will, but it can move independently of the body. And it can also sort of get stuck or need help or be out of shape or be lost, And so at these junctions where the soul's trying to go through a shift physically, you can do something that aids it in moving through, adds some momentum or some weight or some direction or some structure to what's trying to happen in that metaphysical space. So like, okay, boys, moving into this stage, or women, or whatever it is, there needs to be this physical thing that we're going to do and guide them through. And the people that did that were people that had done it themselves and knew. They had a very different perspective on it. To someone just making it up, or the person deciding what it is that they were going to put themselves through as well. That's another big bit with the like whole body in one go. Especially if you don't have tattoos. A lot of these people don't look like they've experienced much tattooing.
Yeah.
And then they get a large amount done. And so it's like, it's an unknown to you. And you're like doubling down on something in such a big way. It's very hard to sort of have any reframe or any adjustment or wiggle room around what it is that you've just decided to do.
It's a pretty reckless decision if you think about it. It's kind of like, it's like, I don't know, I can't really think of an example. I was thinking about getting someone to renovate your house, like in a day, just going, here, I'll pay you, do it. I'm not going to really I like this, and I like this, but you go and do what you need to, and you go stay in a hotel for 2 days, and you come back and your house is done. But you can't change it.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to live. You got to live in that space for the rest of your
Live in that
life,
space. Yeah. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is wild.
Yeah, when you don't know what it's like to be in that type of space either.
I think that's part of like the instant gratification economy as well that we're in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I want everything yesterday, and I think with the consumption of media and how quick it is, people are losing their attention spans and their patience. And I saw a good thing actually this morning about a cigar account I follow. He said smoking a cigar is the antidote to a fast world.
Okay.
Because you sit down and it takes time to smoke. Like the ones I'm smoking are only cigarellos today. But normally when I go for a smoke with you, you know, we'll be in there for like an hour at least to get through it. And I think that that's bleeding out into so many different ways where it's almost ruining the process that people go through, where it's like you see even content creators online now make 50 to 100 grand a month. Man, 10 years ago, people weren't making 50 to 100 grand a month, you know, and just by selling an online course or...
Things are speeding up.
It's so rapid. And I don't know if our human capabilities are wired to be able to keep up with that pace of transformation. Even the amount of information, I'll see like a ridiculous meme or something like that, and I'll just comment, we're not meant to be exposed to this much information. Like some woman on a train thinking she's a dog trying to scratch her way out of the doors. You know, like maybe if you're walking in the subway in New York, you might see that, but we're exposed to so much information now. And I think we're going two ways. One, people is going to get lost in that, and others, like pretty much why we wanted to start having conversations was to bring back some of the old way, or keep the old way alive rather than bring it back.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's because time's really funny. Time's really funny. So it's like things are happening really quick, right? But the old things that we're talking about, or old ways of doing things, older perspectives, take time or have taken time to develop. And so even though things are happening quick because of like connectivity and access, porous nature of globalized world and culture, doesn't mean that there won't be things that will present themselves as the byproduct of longer forms of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think we will have things that are like, okay, these have taken time to develop as a consequence of people doing things, you know, over a set amount of time that'll be valuable to the culture that we currently have again. It's just we're turning through these different renditions of it and trying to work out what that is really quick now.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the way I'm seeing it. So it's like
a parabolic.
You can't rush it. Yeah, so it's like someone wants to get their whole body done in one session, knocked out in 20 hours. They're probably not going to get it right. Okay? But if over 10 years people are doing that, that might get to a point where it's like they do figure some sort of a thing out that allows that to be a process, right?
Yeah.
So like
what I've gone through with you. It's been a 12-year process or something like that.
I mean, this has been a big layer of consideration for me, timing, because it's like my tattoos have taken fucking ages as well.
Yeah.
You know, I got tattooed in one way for 10 years. That was the inherited prescription of the tattoo industry, being an artist and it being artwork. And it took me fucking all the way out here from my center, developed identities that aren't real, that I'm still undoing. It's taken another 10 years. And I'm nearly 20 years in now, 18 years, to sort of course correct using traditional perspectives and methods to like undo and balance things. All of this is informing what I'm doing with people. And I'm like, okay, the thing that's playing out for people at the moment is very complex, doesn't have a set pattern and takes a long time. So I've been saying to people, you know, tattoos take a lifetime. But the reality is the older cultures had spent the time and developed, who knows how they actually developed them. It's in the world of myth now. They've got mythological origin stories for these things, but it's like they would get someone, and if they're going through their process, it's like from day 1 to day 7, the whole tattoo happens. It's a third of the body. They don't even have to draw it. It's in the person's head. They've made the tool, and the whole tattoo just happens and takes place. So the transformation is rapid and big, right? So you could say it's similar to the person who goes under and gets their whole body done.
Yeah.
But the difference is it's not someone guessing or prescribing for themselves what it is that they're doing in isolation. It's something that's taken a long time to happen so they can actually put someone through it in a more rapid time frame in a way that works, because it's already been pressure tested and integrated and refined. It's like that tool and that process has already got all of its T's and I's crossed and dotted. This is what it is. It works.
Yeah.
Opposed to someone going like, let's hold someone down and tattoo them for a week and put them through a change and see what happens on the other side.
Yeah, make them earn it though.
We don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like we have high access, but we're actually quite, as a culture, we're quite adolescent. So we think we know what we're doing, and we're going really hard.
Yeah.
And we're probably making lots of mistakes. And some of those mistakes will be ones that are like one-way doors you're not coming back from.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can sort of, I guess, garner a bit of insight from those things collectively, so that long time frame, we do end up with things that work. We do end up with like, okay, in the contemporary world, for the people we are, this is one way that's being tested by all these people that are actually in front of you. They've already demonstrated it for you that you can go through this thing.
I think, I think there's kind of, it's like a double-edged sword with where we're at in society at the moment. I think anyone can kind of live however they want, which I think is actually a really good thing. If something works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
I was in a podcast 2 weeks ago, and, we're both the same. We're both providers, both in that traditional masculine role. For us, that works.
Yeah.
And the guy that was interviewing me said, my dad was largely stay at home and my mum worked and whatever. He goes, before we jumped on this podcast, I probably would have expected a lot of kickback from you, but you're probably just going to tell me that, well, if you want to live that way, live that way. And I'm like, yeah, our roles, I don't actually think that many men are capable of doing it anymore, to be really honest with you. I don't think we're a dying breed. I think we're a breed that is, there's a resurgence of it at the moment, because I do think that is more of a natural order. But if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So I think that's a good thing, that many people can live their life however they choose to live. The problem with, on the other side of it, is that everyone that's living their way thinks their way is the best and everyone should live that way.
Right.
So I think that with tattooing, I don't think you should use drugs or numbing cream or anything, any painkillers, or I definitely don't think you should go under anesthetic.
But you can.
But you can. Right. Yeah. And if you want to do that, like, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But my thing is that, yeah, you should earn it. And I don't know if you've tattooed me for 100 hours or 200 hours. I don't know. It's a lot.
Not sure.
But it was only a little bit I put on my leg to get it done. And I was like, oh man, I felt like I was betraying myself in a way. I felt like I didn't earn it. And I think that doing difficult things is worth doing because it means something once you're through it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden things, what used to be hard after you've done the hard thing isn't so hard. You're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, fuck, I got to deal with this now. And, I've been through something like this, and there's a beginning and a middle and an end. And I used to apply that when you used to tattoo me, because I fucking hate getting tattooed, right? It sucks. But I'm like, this is a journey where I'm at. And I didn't even really know at the time about cultures and how they would do it. And you largely introduced me into that. But I remember I'd go through something, I'd find an image, and then when that process was complete, I would just naturally come to you and say, hey, this is what has gone on. Can you mark me for that?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, looking back on it now, it's pretty amazing to think that was my process with it, because that's been how it's been done in a lot of cultures.
Yeah. I think it's something that I'm still working with in terms of operation and procedure with people and trying to understand myself. You know, we've actually been through different stages together already. Think about when we started, maybe like the most recent bits, you know, and in that process, there's been my own separating out of what art is and then what initiation is. You know, and both of those sort of sitting over the top of each other in a space when I'm, you know, tattooing someone on a table. So that discernment process for myself has been unfolding. And, you know, someone, when you said, you know, you wouldn't take painkillers, but someone could, that's fine. We got the choice. It's like, I don't see tattooing as just artwork anymore, but I can see that it can be for someone.
Yeah.
And then in terms of facilitating processes for people, it's like I've stepped either side of that line consciously and unconsciously, depending on where I've been at and who I'm tattooing. But I'm coming more and more into a place, and I think this is part of like where I'm being moved in terms of my own experiences, the stuff I'm currently going through. We've talked about it a lot, this sort of artist layer needing to drop
dying
off.
off. Yeah, it's dying off for you.
And this, I think, is like,
well, it's performance identity, right?
And they're further stages of, I guess, like the fruit of initiatory processes. So again, you know, I'm like, you come into something and you're very intentional. And it's like you don't know where that's taking you fully, because you're meant to be introduced to that. But if you're genuine, it's going to remove the obstacles and set you on the path to actually receive that information, insight, and instruction to be that thing, to move into that place. And so it's like I've been intentionally treading a path that is initiatory in terms of understanding what this thing is, breaking the skin, marking the body, moving people through physical transformations. And so it's like tattooing as art is way back here now.
Yeah.
You know, and so I need to like be really aware of that in the process as I'm taking people through, because they'll still bring that in.
Yeah.
You know, they still
and they'll
want
still
that.
want that.
And that's fine, right? But there's a layer of like me not jeopardizing what it is that I'm actually doing. So like a dilution, you could say. You know, if the process is going to be one that's the way that I'm seeing it and experiencing it, it's like I have to consciously not dilute it with too much of the art layer anymore. You know, more of a craft. It's a craft. You got to be like technically proficient and stuff.
Because that would be that initial part before the initiation aspect would be around performance identity. Because what I see with men, there's like the first half of our adult life is all about performance and proving. So it's performance identity, and then we move into purpose identity, which you and I have kind of run parallels in our own way.
Do you sit them in a certain bracket of age? Like,
yeah, usually performance is up till about 35, and then give or take either side. And some guys will hit it at 28, 29. Others will do it 40, 42, but it's like a bell curve, right? The majority of people will do it in 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. And then the outliers will start before and after.
Yeah.
And what I hear with that is like, you know, because you knew me when I was in full performance, when I was in the property industry and looking at Aston Martins and Ferraris and all that rubbish. And through that,
they're still nice cars.
Yeah, they're still nice. They're cool.
Yeah,
so are Porsches as well. But it's like, I've found that as I moved away from that, those things are fun, but they don't define me.
Yep.
Whereas purpose-based identity is a bit more, you know, what am I doing in the world? Who am I in the world? How do I want to show up? And I think fatherhood usually comes for a lot of guys in that purpose-based identity time. And I know for me, because I was a hardcore lone wolf materialist, you know, living life, doing my thing. That's why I see a lot of people now going, oh my God, it's just about peace and I can do what I want. And now that I have my own family and living in purpose identity, there's nothing more precious than that. The material world and being on your own. Like to me, I just look at that now and I go, it's really sad that I see a lot of people in that. Yeah. Just from my own perspective, it doesn't mean that it's a pathetic existence or a bad existence. Go live that if you want. Yeah. but I know how much I missed out on in that space. And I think, you know, to bring the artist in, that's a natural transition where what you do defines who you are. That's really about performance identity. And then who you are defines what you do, which is purpose, which they kind of invert on themselves. They become the opposite. And that's where life becomes a lot richer. You become more in contact with just organic reality. I think the performance aspect, which is what a lot of masculinity coaches talk about, they're all money, muscles, game, frame, you know, status. That's all like, okay, cool, but it's all very external rather than internal. And there's a point where that's got to flip. And like you know, yeah, you're the artist and there's a part of that. But the real part is in the initiatory work, which is really like that deep, more of like roots in the ground kind of approach to what you're doing.
Yeah. And yeah, the performance also comes with like costume.
Yeah.
So to perform, you need costume, right? So if you think about those material layers you were talking about at that stage for you.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, the tattoo artist, it's like, yeah, there's the tattoo uniform. You get tattooed in a particular way by different people so that you fit the scene.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of this, this like needing to perform and materialize a particular persona and appearance. This is a big part of what tattooing is meant to be. It's very natural. I actually had this conversation maybe 4 years ago with the guy tattooing me, where we started talking about we could just say rites of passage generally, or initiation, because it's susceptible to being at the mercy of the same things I'm talking about here. Where it's like it could become performance. Initiation and rites of passage can become performance. It might get picked up in the hype of what's happening online and all the different coaching spaces and become this thing that people start performing as well, right? So we're talking about like tattoos as becoming a power object, where it's like, well, kind of like a nice watch or a nice car, you know? They're not perverse. Signaling power through an object is a very natural thing. But the initiation and the tattoo shouldn't become that. There's actually a function that's more inherent, rooted, like you said, which is connect to something beyond the tattoo. You know, the tattoo, it's bigger than the tattoo itself. The tattoo is not the special thing. Because I've got this tattoo, I'm now initiated, so to speak.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, the internal game's the most important one.
I think we're in that
100%.
collectively at the moment too.
Yeah.
You're seeing people break away from these, well, not break away, but there's this, I feel like we're in like this adolescent teenager stage politically. And I'm largely apolitical. I fucking hate politics.
Yeah.
I like, you know, that was one of the things we said before we came on here, that we want to stay away from that stuff because everyone comments on that at the moment. It's the thing that gets the views and whatever. But you see people are going, no, I don't want this. You don't get to tell me what to do. Like, why do you get to tell me what to do? You know, it's pretty clear our government here doesn't have our best interests at heart.
No.
And so people are starting to wake up and go, hang on, no, I want to split from this. I don't want to live like this. And it's coming. And I feel like we're in a collective rite of passage at the moment.
For sure. Yeah. We're like stumbling our way through the change.
The wilderness, right? We're sort of out in the wilderness. Well, we've got this system, which is our tribe.
Yeah.
But now I'm not agreeing with the politics of the system and the rules and the totalitarianism and the authority and this, wow, okay, you're meant to be my carer, but you don't actually have my best interest at heart. But that only happens when there's a maladaptive relationship between utter dependency on the system that we're partaking in and not having a choice with anything else. And some people will legitimately just fall deeper into that system.
Yeah.
But there are people that are,
Yeah.
and there are people that are going, no, it's time for me to do my own thing. I don't want to do this. I'm not happy with it. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I think rites of passage are coming back because we can see that our society's fucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though everyone can live in this, in whatever way they want, which I fully support, we're sicker, worse than ever. unhappier, more depressed, more medicated.
Yeah.
There's a major gender war going on at the moment, which you can discuss in another episode.
Chat. Yeah.
But you know, it's if this is a symptom of progression, then we're not progressing at all. Like if anything, we're progressing towards our destruction.
Yeah.
Rather than our unification.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's an important point because it's like the diversity is important. Great that you can decide to do and be and believe what you feel. But what we're talking about with initiation is actually a collective comprehension of something. It is unifying. That's the point. You know, and I've been digging into my ancestral roots through my dad's side more, trying to find what I can to give me more insight into what it is that I'm going through myself. You know, when we start going into like genetics and sort of blood lines, what we're actually made of, physical aspect of what we are, what information's in there that we still embody from times where we've had these processes. We've had initiatory processes. I've been digging in and trying to get some comprehension of that. And the more you look at any indigenous view, so for me that's like indigenous cultures in isolated regions of Slovenia, like western, you know, river regions, for example. You know, for the tattooing side of things, what I've been experiencing, it's like there's certain regions within New Zealand and the Pacific where they make tools a particular way. And what I find is the initiation is something that's very geographically relevant to people. So they're all connected to each other. They're connected to this place. We talked about a little bit more saying
it's localized,
about
right?
buying houses, right?
Yeah, it's localized.
Like, well, where do you want to be? You
Yeah.
know? So there's this layer of localization that's really fundamental to all of the initiatory stuff that's ever been. And then we're talking about a current global culture that's in its adolescence trying to establish initiatory pathways that are credible, right? Where everyone isn't in the same location. So what are the threads that connect us? You know, what are those things? And this is why I think the layers of, say, like moral standards and the values and the masculine things coming into, say, like where you're working with men, or where I'm working with the men, the things that overlap, I think is going to start to reveal what that structure might be that creates the initiatory pathways. You know, like what's the same thing that all the men are experiencing at a particular age or in a particular situation that's a result of our globalized culture.
Yeah.
You know, that they're new things to a degree, or there's like a new presentation of it.
Well, you look at it, in the new presentation, it's relationship. Because, you know,
big,
I think that's
huge.
the big one, because it's, if you look at a lot of cultures, and I'm reading Rites of Passage by Arnold van Gennep, I think it is, go through a initiation, the reward is a wife, to get married and then have children.
Yep.
But you have to qualify as a man to be worthy of the wife.
Yeah.
And that's common.
Yeah.
So now in our society with men,
Yeah.
there's more men that are single than ever and not in relationship, and women are going the same way too.
Yeah.
And so now, because they're not going through the difficult things, a lot of men are seen as not worthy to women. And so men aren't really becoming worthy. I want to be careful how I say this. Not that they're not worth a relationship. It's that they're not doing the thing that's necessarily required to step up into manhood in order to have a family.
Yes.
And I was watching something this morning, and they were talking about the definition of a male or a man. And he's an Aussie guy and saying, you know, there aren't many men around. I'm like, every man is a male, but not every male is a man.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because they don't qualify for it. And I think that's the big one, because you go through the hard part of the initiation out into the wilderness for up to 2 years in some cultures. Or you'd have to go kill something like a wild animal, you know, a leopard or a stag or something like that. And then you'd come back, and you would have then, in order of the tribe, show your worth to the tribe and then you would get the wife, and then you'd have family and you'd have kids. You'd be a reliable, solid member of the tribe. If you don't know how to go through something like that, you're not seen as reliable, or you're not seen as a worthy member of the tribe. And that was typically dictated by if you'd have a wife at the end of it, or if you completed the task.
100%.
You know, I had one of the big things I institute in my men's group is a feminine cleanse, which is like, who are you without being oriented to the feminine? Similar to in a culture where you'd be cast out into the wilderness to go prove your worth. You don't have your mother there to save you. The difference is men are 30 to 40 in my group doing this. Some of them don't make it. The kids that go out into the wilderness to be 5, 7, 12,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And some of them would come back and then they break it. They break the feminine cleanse because of convenience, ease, orientation to the feminine, and desperation. And so they haven't gone through that inner landscape to understand that and to break free from that. And I was literally just working with a dude this morning, and he was having a real hard time through one of his breakups, and it's been a big initiation for him, and I'd been guiding him through it. And his perception that he'd formed is that I can see his ex everywhere, he can feel her everywhere, and she's standing behind him as like this translucent image. And I'm like, all right, let's just relax, because that's, you know, what's the actual perception? He's like, I feel her everywhere. I'm like, where do you actually feel it? He said, I mean, in the shoulder. I said, so you're just having a sensation in your shoulder and you're making up this story to hold on to this woman because you don't know who you'd be without her. And that was the thing that really hit him. So he was in this like deeper context of, I don't know who I'd be without her. And men suffer from this everywhere. They're so oriented to the feminine, but they're not doing the work to actually go through it to know themselves of who they are without them, which is the initiatory catalyst to actually move them into an aspect of mature masculinity where then they can actually relate to the woman without relying on her in so many ways. And he was in a very push-pull relationship, and I said, in the absence of her there, for you to be in a push-pull relationship, you start to have a push-pull relationship with yourself and then try to get her back to soothe you. But this underlying context of not knowing who he is without her is something I work with all the time. Yeah. And so what they do is they commit to the feminine cleanse and they break the feminine cleanse, but there's no consequences. And one guy in my group did that. And I was like, you know, you'd be cast out of the tribe. You'd never be allowed to try for manhood again after that. You would be a laughing stock, essentially. But guys just break their word so easily these days because they haven't learned that there's consequences in the tribe.
Yeah. And the consequences, it's not necessary now.
It's not necessary. Just go find somewhere else.
It used to be necessity.
Yeah.
It's like it actually was survival.
Mm.
You know, wasn't like an agreement.
Yeah.
Within a container, bound by a, you know, whether there's a financial investment or not. It's like so much more beyond that.
Yeah.
It's like life or death.
Mm.
You know, so like the actual gravity of things like honor and your story and dignity in those things, which is so much more weighty and real.
Yeah.
You know, like even the idea of shame. It's like, I don't think people really get the weight of that.
Yeah.
Shaming someone. Like imagine you actually were outcast from your whole social structure.
Mm. I mean, that does happen. I mean, it happens at school.
Yeah.
Like it happens in a natural process. But now everyone's about like healing your shame, dealing with your shame, dealing with all these unconscious processes and emotions within you. And I think that's really healthy. But we look at old tribes and that would be the thing that, and I think that's a natural part of the human condition, but I think it's an important aspect as well. Because everyone's like, don't shame them, don't shame them. Like shame creates moral cohesion.
Yeah. Coming back to this guy, right? So it's like he had some pain in his shoulder.
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah. Because I said, where do you feel her? And he's like, oh, he's behind me. She's behind me. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what does that actually mean? Like, let's actually break it down into removing the meaning that you're placing on it. Mm. And let's just look at the function of what's happening. No labels, no diagnoses, nothing. Yeah. And all you're doing is you're feeling something in your shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is like the place for the ritual wounding as well. Why that's like such a big aspect of these breakaway moments. You know, like I find with older men that I end up engaging with that haven't broken away from the mother, and you see it playing out in their relationship with their mother and their wives or their partners or whatever it is. There's also this layer of like, soon as male sort of confronts or identifies what's happening there, they can be a bit defensive of it and like start to see you as the bad guy as well. Like, oh, you're challenging this thing that hasn't had to be challenged yet. Like, don't take away my safety blanket.
Yeah.
I'm a full grown man. You can't take away my safety blanket.
Yeah, been down that path.
Haven't had to have it happen before, you know? And then like it's at that stage where the wounding is appropriate. You know, it's like it's meant to be something that's painful and challenging, and that you heal and sort of move on from.
It's probably one of the most difficult things a man can go through is separating from his mother. Psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, most of it's done at a young age. But now you get 35, 40-year-old, they'll just attract a woman in. They'll get married and she'll leave him because he's still attached. There's no room for two women in a man's life where he's still attached to his mother and trying to create a relationship with her. The two, they're mutually exclusive. They don't work. Where was I with the mother thing? The man, the woman leaving the man.
Well, we're just talking about that, like how we're seeing it in our current experiences. You and me, you know, we both work with a lot of men.
Yeah.
And we see it come up very regularly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I specialize in, really. Yeah. And I think that when you look in cultures, there was birth, death, and marriage rites. And there was a female biological rite, which is the cycle. And the boys would be separated from the mother.
Yeah.
So the separation from the mother is not in every single culture ever, but it's in the large majority.
Yeah.
And even in matrilineal societies, they would give the boys to the men to turn them into men. Only now in our society, I can't really find other ones, and I haven't researched every single culture and tribe ever, but this is the only one where now women are defining what a real man is. You hear that a lot, oh, real man to do that, real man to do that. Like, men aren't really saying that so much. It's mainly women that say that.
Yeah.
And now, you know, there are women out there that are trying to define what a real man is. Well, they've never spent a day as a man ever and never will. So I think that's a really important indicator of where culture's at.
Yeah.
And where society's at.
It is. It is. And again, it's like the removal of necessity. You know, so it boils down to purpose and meaning.
Also, mate selection. So now what we're seeing is a major skew towards the large majority of women wanting the top percentage of men. And this is like completely accurate across so many different bodies. But now, because a lot of men can't compete with those top men, so in competition, you need difference. Whereas a lot of men now, and it's being celebrated, is that men develop sameness to women in order to compete. There's that guy, he does books, whatever, Luke Bateman, I think his name is. He does book reviews. I don't know much about him, but he's of that sort of, he used to play for the NRL, and he's of that, cut from that cloth. He's like, I think men would do a lot to have feminist practices, feminist ideas, feminist this, feminist that, and it's like, I don't know how much they're paying you for this, because I know he got a couple of book deals when he's never written a book in his life.
Yeah.
But that's where we're going with it. Now we've got guys out there saying that, and it's like, cool, if you want to live that way, go live that way.
Well, it's back to what we said earlier too, though. It's like there isn't any stability or structure in what it is that we're currently making our way across, like there has been in the past. Things are just happening real quick. So it's like him saying that is similar to the guy getting his bodysuit done under anesthetic. Where it's like next year he could feel different about it.
Yeah.
He's saying it now, gets a lot of voice. You know, this is like, you see it in all sorts of arenas, right? It's like things get amplified and picked up, and it's like, but they're not built on anything that has long time under it yet. You know? Yeah. So the potentiality of them collapsing or evolving or just changing into, you know, people contradicting themselves, it's like rampant these days.
Yeah. Or selling out even, you know, like people now have the ability to sell out their character. You know, we see a lot of this online where it's go viral, say things for outrage, but not a lot of it is based in a solid form of their own character.
Yeah, it's the performance stuff.
It's the performance stuff.
Yeah.
So they go, oh, what's popular? I know I'll tear someone down, or I'll troll someone or whatever. I've had that done to me heaps of times, and it's purely for their own validation.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also a lot of the time people going through their own processes unconsciously in a public platform.
Yeah.
So like they're interested in a particular topic or angle because it's something that they're having to map
work
and
through, deal
comprehend for
with.
themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm an overly, you know, hard-edged masculine guy that's, you know, bordering on all of these aspects. And so for them, you know, maybe going into some of the other softer things is what's necessary for them. And that's the truth that they start to preach at that particular point in time.
Yeah, that's what they go through.
It'll swing back. I'm finding a lot of value in listening to older voices now. Like the
Me
one
too.
you sent me last night.
Yeah,
I can't
Malcolm.
remember his name.
Malcolm Guiter, Guit. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Gnome-looking dude.
Yeah, he's a gnome.
It was really interesting.
I love that guy.
A few bits to talk about on that. So Henry sent me one of his shorts with some poetry a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
That's when I first saw him. But I'm like, okay, don't know how old he is. A lot older.
Mm-hmm.
And just little bits where he's not trying to, you pick up the swing and the mapping of his own walk. And he's like, oh yeah, so, you know, when I was like more into like some Zen stuff mixed up
Zen
with
and
this and that,
existentialism.
before I came back to, you know, now his
Christian faith.
He's like a
He was 19. He was 19 at the time when he went back to Christianity.
right. When he went back
Back
at 19.
from what I understand, 19.
Okay.
Could be wrong, but I was listening
Yeah.
to a podcast with him and Matt Fradd, I think it was, on Pints with Aquinas.
Yeah.
That's a really good resource for older men or older men on the podcast that are, you know, philosophy, doctors of philosophy.
He's very like Catholic.
Catholic, yeah.
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 I mean, I haven't got my qualms with the Catholic side when we start going theology, but
It's more his the guys that he speaks to. A few of them I've watched,
Yeah.
not every single one. 50s, 60s. They're the men I'm looking to at the moment.
yeah. I should show you sort of like a bit of a read list that I got from Neil. You'd appreciate. But Neil's another one where it's like he's
Neil
I don't know-
Kramer.
Yeah, don't know how old he is now, but older, and it's like just seeing his own path over the years, already being, you know, at least a decade ahead. You know, someone who's like on a parallel path, and seeing that like, oh, there is this sway, you know, which allows myself to sort of like, okay, what, like take a pulse read on like what I think a truth is at any point in time.
Yeah.
Look over my shoulder and go like, oh, I've been way over there in the past and I've been way over there and I'm here now. And so it's like, I'll probably still have a bit of that as I find my way. And then also when I'm listening to other people's voices, I can have that there. I'm just like, that's okay.
You can have
They're
it.
there now.
Yeah.
They might get to this stage here once they've sort of like, you know, emptied that tank out a bit, got through all of the different pieces of that particular philosophy or angle. Or
I think the hard part now is the nature of information is so readily available that the people that tear down people like that go into hard one side, they want the humanity and the tolerance a lot of the time while not allowing that for other people and not realizing the scope of the humanity. Like the Luke guy I was talking about, he's gone one way. I mean, I think it's politically motivated, but I also don't care if that's the way that he wants to live. Like, go for it. Do I agree with it? No. But I'm not going to say that he can't live that way.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, we don't allow people their humanity because there's this viciousness through anonymity and distance that keeps people safe. And they're doing that at someone else's expense, which is psychopathic.
right.
Right? To actually go on and tear others down and take aim at them and tear down their character at no expense for how that might affect them is psychopathic. And this is generating more and more at the moment because anonymity and distance keeps people safe.
Through the online space.
Through the online space.
Yeah.
Right.
Which wouldn't happen in older setting.
No.
Where we didn't have.
Or even in real life.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, most of those people that do that sort of stuff, if you sat or bumped into them at a cafe, probably get on really well. So like online lives in these extreme ends, but reality lives in this kind of you know, meaty part of the bell curve.
Yeah. The IRL, the in real life stuff's important, hey?
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to unpack that more in terms of like what, you know, because everything I do is that when it
Yeah.
comes to tattooing.
Yeah.
I'm doing more of the online stuff now where tattooing's taking the back seat and sort of helping side guide people's processes and stuff.
Mm.
But how do you get those people together and in real life? I think it's important. Man, smoking a pipe and a cigar is a good one.
Mate, it is a good
Going
one.
to that lounge has been nice. And I thought that would be a really good way to sort of get a bit of a men's group or a men's club together.
Yeah.
You know, space that you can go and smoke in.
Yeah.
Especially because I think as well, it's like a lot of the physical spaces in cities and towns at the moment that were used for bar and social venues are struggling.
Yeah, they're disappearing.
So if they, you know, that's a good way to repurpose space. So it's like actually becomes something communal.
Yeah.
You know,
Less and less
you can
people are
smoke
drinking. Less, I think Gen Z's down. I don't know what percentage, but it's a big percentage.
Yeah.
They're not interested anymore. And maybe that's more conscious. Maybe their new drug is the online world and streaming and the metaverse. But we'll have to leave that for another one because I got to wrap up.
Cool, man. We did it. First
We
one
got
done.
it. Down.
We'll,
Down the hatch.
yeah. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Weekly we'll shoot for, hey?
Weekly for sure.